I'm not used to being on bottom. Don't take that out of context.
I got no clue if people are actually gonna like this or not. This is our first time doing anything like this.
I
Where it's
hope they
audio
will.
only.
I personally I like the old Mario Kart. I mean, and that's effectively what we're doing now. The Mario Kart video. So
Yeah. Hopefully we can be as good as that.
I'm sure we don't. We can live up to our own
Yeah.
standards.
Or we passed our prime.
We've peaked. I'm sure we can, or I'm sure that video also has us doing some kind of like self-reference to like, oh yeah, so we do this a lot.
Yeah,
And then,
that's probably how we started it. This is our pastime.
Yeah.
We're two lazy white guys who just Mario Kart Wii.
It's not a bad title name.
Two lazy white guys.
Who play Mario Kart on the Wii. TLW. WP.
Yeah, but Joel, maybe the initials of the
WWPOW.
words we just said. Do we want to bring up one of the topics that we were just...
Oh, yes. Yes, you had one written down, didn't you?
Yeah, I wrote a couple down, but the initial one that I wrote down was cheating in school.
Ah, yes. Cheating in school.
Yeah,
That's...
I don't know how much like you actually want to talk about it. I can talk a little bit about it.
Go ahead. You
Okay.
can lead.
I've cheated a moderate amount, and it's taken different forms. Like from high school, it was mainly in high school that I like started cheating on stuff. Usually stuff that just like didn't matter to me. I guess it's still the stuff that doesn't matter to me that I cheat on.
Now, when you say a moderate amount,
Define moderate.
Yeah.
High school, it was like I would cheat on some math things if I knew like.
you could get away with it.
Yeah, if I knew I could get away with it. In my French class, freshman year, because I only took one language class in high school, the teacher she actually kind of encouraged cheating a little bit on the homework.
How so?
Which is funny. When we got into the classroom, like before class started, she would put up the answers to the homework, like because
but not
we
check beforehand.
yeah we would review and like usually grade ourselves too.
Yeah.
And she was like, if you didn't do your homework, it's an opportunity to get it down real quick. Why
Probably
even grade this
so
then?
she can make like a quota.
Yeah, maybe. I also just disagree with how language is taught in schools, at least in the high school and middle school level, because I could like read and interpret and write a little bit of French in context of an assignment. But if I had to actually write out a French letter, if I was writing to somebody in French, or if I was trying to have a conversation with somebody, they would be terrible. I wouldn't be able to do it. I know like some vocabulary words, I know conjugation, well, I knew at the time, but like that doesn't help for being conversational. At least for me, it didn't.
Not immediately, but we kind of kept continuing to, based on my experience in college, we kept continuing to indulge in the basics of everything, but we were like, we stretched that over 4 or 5 years. And it's a lot quicker pace in high school, but you do learn more conversational tools because it's basically like not just, what you would do to speak correctly, but also how you would speak, things to look out for in conversation and listening comprehension. It's easy in its own way, but a little more challenging than that. But me personally, I find this a lot more enjoyable and by extension easier.
Me too. I like Mario Kart a lot more than French.
Yeah, well, apples and oranges, but I personally don't think that I cheated that much in high school, except for my senior year when everyone was doing it. However, in college, reject that. I'm not admitting to this.
I'll admit to cheating in college. Another thing, just like quickly from high school, was Mr.
Yeah.
In his class. Yeah, because I had gym with him, but also part of that was health class. It was like health and also sports and like anatomy and stuff like that. I remember on the bones quiz, we basically get like a picture of the skeleton. We have to name each bone. I just like had a paper underneath my test paper that I would like slit out every time he wasn't looking.
Did you bring it in?
Yeah, I like wrote it beforehand and brought it in, or it was one of my notes or something. I got away with it. He didn't catch me, or maybe he did see it and just didn't care enough.
It's actually pretty bold. Like that's a way that you would get caught red-handed that way.
Yes.
As opposed to something like, oh, you have a mnemonic device written in the corner of your margins or whatever.
It was very risky because not only was like he would absolutely make fun of somebody and like make an example out of them for cheating.
Yeah.
But also I had the paper underneath it and I was in the front row.
Yeah, you're knowingly concealing it.
Yeah. But I needed that because I did not remember any fucking bones at all. It doesn't excuse it, but also I don't really care. In college, I'm an art student, so there's not a whole lot I can cheat on. My art history classes, especially the online ones, nothing but cheating. Like nothing but cheating.
Yeah.
The quizzes, I don't have these anymore, so the grades are already in. They can't do anything about it.
You're frustrated by the fact that it's not a copy and paste fill in the blank.
Moderately, yeah. We would have like online quizzes. We didn't have like homework or anything. It was all tests, quizzes, and exams. I would be looking up every single answer to everything, or if I couldn't find it online, like within a couple minutes, then I would scroll through the lecture like papers that we had to read.
Yeah.
And I would usually get enough to pass. I did pretty poorly in those classes, even with cheating, which makes sense because I didn't actually learn the information. So, and the quizzes were timed, so I didn't always get everything down right away.
I actually did have a bone quiz in college over one of the past couple semesters, and I did cheat on that, but I don't think I can be held quite as accountable because I cheated off of a poster in the classroom that the teacher forgot to cover up, and it was a strain to actually like look at. So I tried to actually do like an honor system and use it as just like a reminder if I couldn't figure it out on my own, because what we were given the like hints, and we were given like the actual bones on the table.
Oh, okay.
You know, as like a reminder if it would refresh it in our memories or not. But that poster had basically everything listed in order. Like it was like the final result of what we were trying to do. There was no seat, so we could just like walk around and look at different bones and stuff. And I would just happen to be over in the corner looking at the jawbone that I already did 3 times.
Freaking them out.
Yeah, that's marvelous. How did you remember what the trapezius bone is called from looking at the cranium?
Yeah.
Oh, I
For like the whole half hour.
have a mnemonic device. You've been saying that every time.
A visual memory.
I'm a hands-on learner. Touching this one bone has given me everything I need to know about the human body. This is the bone of a very smart person.
Oh shit, I thought that was the end. Oh god.
Not out of the woods yet.
Well, now I get a chance to beat Mario.
I can still taste a little bit of wasabi.
We went to get sushi recently, which was very good. That was some of the best sushi I've ever had.
I know. Like sit-down sushi places. I
really
didn't
feel
actually
that.
just kiss Luke now. That was me doing the chef's kiss.
Love you too.
You don't have to say it back. Because we went to the mall earlier and we bought shoes. On our way there, I told him I knew what I was getting.
It's like, I already know what I'm getting.
And I spent longer looking at the menu than he did.
You were very confident beforehand.
That's because they didn't have what I expected them to have.
Well, you had been there before, right?
I had,
Certainly you know
but
what
I
they
didn't. Maybe I'm misremembering. I thought I had gotten what I was expecting to get
had. Oh.
last time. Evidently not. But I also, I do think that in those circumstances, sushi is very filling. Because it's satisfying, even if it's not like the most food and you could eat something after. Like, pretty much good for the day.
Yeah. It's one of the things that you can eat a lot of it. It takes more to get me full, but I can be easily satisfied by it. Because, like, the one roll was enough for me to be okay with the soup. But if you gave me 5 rolls, I'd be pounding those. It'd be gone. And I wouldn't feel overfilled.
Yeah. And you did technically finish before me.
Well, I had a little bit less than you.
Which is more of a testament to how fast I eat.
Yeah.
I mean, look at me, I'm still eating. Like,
Yeah, we had some donuts from yesterday.
which is a rarity.
I think it's only because we kept them in my room.
They weren't out in the open.
We knew we were gonna be doing this again, so you're like, just keep it in this room. I was like, yeah, okay.
That's why we're doing it.
Don't knock on my door in the middle of the night.
It's like 3 a.m. Hey, Luke,
I really need a fix right now.
can you help me out? Come on, man. I won't ask for no more.
You like give me crack so you can get a donut.
Like, you're clearly asleep. It's like a camera view from inside your door. You just see some money being pushed under.
You're just praying that I can see it. But you don't want to be rude and wake me up. It's like,
Certainly not.
the hell are you doing up here competing with me? Second place?
You kiss. Stop gooping me, man. I don't know if that was you.
I don't think you can goop somebody if you're ahead of them. Somebody gooped you from behind. Do you have any other cheating stories? Expose yourself more.
Actually, it's kind of a blur. I'm sure I have, but I think I would just, most of the time, rather take the bad grade than get caught.
I always take the risk. Not always. I usually take the risk.
There's been times where I have actually looked off of somebody else's test, but
I think I've done that before in like middle school or high school.
that's only if it's like absolutely necessary, because what I usually end up doing is just that thing where I know what it's not. But that also strictly works for just like multiple choice.
There's been a lot of times on tests, especially if I know I'm worried about what my grade is going to be.
Yeah.
During the test, I'll find all the answers that I did or I'm doing that I'm confident in, all the ones that I'm kind of iffy on, and all the ones that I have no idea if I'm correct or not. And I'll like do some math to figure out what my grade is going to be like.
Yeah.
Like the range of what it could be. So like the ones I'm confident in, I'll say like, okay, those are correct. the ones I'm iffy on, I'll be like, okay, I'll give a like half and a half for that. So
Yeah.
say I get half of those right. And the
Know what
ones
your baseline grade might be.
yeah, and then the ones that I'm completely unsure about, like with full guess, I just assume that I'm not gonna get them right.
Yeah.
And then I'll see what, like, basically what my minimum grade is.
It could only get better.
Yeah, and just try to get that to a point where I would pass with it. Then I can feel safe with it. I do that a lot, like trying to rationalize things that doesn't really matter. I should just do my best, and then like hopefully,
Yeah.
I guess it's just seeing if I can know what to expect.
My whole thing with tests is that I'm like I'm an overthinker, and I will oftentimes second guess answers, and then I'll look at my grade after and be like, oh, damn it, I was gonna say that.
Yeah, your instinct is correct.
Yeah. And then like, so what I usually do now is I'll just approach it on strictly the basis of instinct if I don't know it. And I'm like, oh, this feels right. And I think like most of the time it is, which is probably why my test grades have been improving marginally. Not significant enough to show results, but I think if I trust my instinct, then I at least feel confident. I feel assured in my answer, even if it's not right. And then the rest of the time, I'll do the process of elimination, which I'm assuming is like a trick for a lot of people, because I don't think that in the United States here, like, standardized tests don't show much of what you know or how like smart you are. It's just like a testament to like how much information can you regurgitate
Yeah.
in this amount of time.
Once a test is over, I forget almost everything that was on it.
Yeah, I do
I'm
the
like,
same thing.
I don't need this information anymore. I'm out.
I can be asked the same question again and not know.
Yeah. Like maybe a couple things I'll remember, but that kind of type of teaching or testing is not a good way for me to
Yeah.
retain the information.
But if it's not teaching you to try, then what good is it, you know?
Yeah.
I don't think intelligence should be measured by, like, you know, how much you actually know, you know, in a certain category. It should be a testament of, like, how much can you figure out?
I think with certain things, it should be like applied knowledge. Like if I'm trying to be a painter, like see how good my paintings are. Don't ask me like vocabulary or what each brush is for. Like see if I can make a good painting.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and there's obviously like a certain extent where relative knowledge will be useful. However, I don't think it's everything, and I think that as long as somebody has like a basic ability to prove that they know a little bit about a topic, then you should give them free rein to try it out for themselves, you know? There's like aptitude tests that sometimes they'll take, that, you know, people take when they do certain jobs and stuff that see like where their skills lie best. I'm trying to find a quicker way to simplify what I'm saying here.
We have an hour.
Yeah, when people prove that they're good at something, I guess, I don't think that they should have to continue to prove that they know about it, just that they can do it. And if they're comfortable with it, then they're comfortable. But
yeah.
Certainly that shouldn't be all that they're capable of. What they should be capable of is the ability to assess and determine what who they are and what they like about like a certain topic, so that they can be more versatile as a person and they can do other things. And you know, if they're content, then that's fine too. But we shape our society in such a way.
We live in one of those.
We live in one of those things that people kind of become stuck in the way that they're going. You know, like you invest in college for so long and you graduate with only one specific degree. Like I feel like we should shape the world in more of a way that, like, if people want to change it up after a while, then, you know, why can't they? For a minimum expense to themselves.
I feel like that's a stressor on a lot of people in college or going to college,
like, oh,
or even after college. Like, well, I spent half of $100,000 on this, and
I hate it.
Yeah. now I'm like working at McDonald's for the rest of my life because I hate my degree. But I thought I liked it for a little while, so I put money into it because everybody told me to.
I think that happened to paper engineers in the 80s. Oh, sweet. Dude, the world will never change in a drastic way now. My paper engineering degree is going to make the most of my time.
Wait, guys!
What's this computer thing?
Yeah, I'll never catch on.
Once this internet fad dies out.
That does kind of make me curious, like, what fads will catch on, like other crazy inventions and things like that. What is going to be the thing that sticks around?
Yeah. I don't know.
In any context.
A lot of invention is out of, like, necessity or at the very least, unforeseen necessity. You know, the internet, we didn't realize how... Like, can you imagine getting by without it in today's world?
It'd be very different.
Yeah. It would be hitherto impossible to have the same abilities that we do now. But, like, we say that now while not realizing, like, you know, someday I'm not going to bring AI into this. We're gonna write around that.
Thank you.
Maybe, like, some home improvement technology. Or, like, say, transportation. Like, fucking, what? Freight ships are a thing now? You can just move to Mars.
Yeah.
Like, we can have internet on multiple planets. You know, it's like, how did we ever get by without this?
Yeah, that's like a pretty distant
Yeah.
in the future kind of thing, but that's not unfathomable. Interplanetary travel
Yeah,
and
like a way to
having
like
residential life on
a
other
way to
planets.
not accidentally live 80 years and die before you get there,
Yeah.
kind of thing, you know? Like interplanetary travel, I can only imagine. And that's like something people fantasize about, probably in the same way they fantasize about the internet. Like, wish I could talk to somebody in China right now.
Yeah.
Well, it's like now they can. It's like, I wish I could go see somebody in China on a different planet right now.
I want to go to Mars, China.
Not Earth China, Mars China.
Yeah.
I'm from Hong Kong, Mars.
Dude, Mars, China's got the best food.
Do you know how many zip codes gonna be floating around there? They're gonna have to double up the phone number digits. Like,
if interplanetary travel and that kind of stuff actually does get to a point where it is possible, how much is the population of humanity gonna expand?
see, that's the thing is like right now we're still limited by if there's like a mass tsunami, we're all gonna die. But if we spread our population across 2 planets, there's still a pretty good chance at survival. Like we're all in this together. But if there comes a day that we can shape the destiny of human beings, we're gonna drastically change. Like we're gonna start evolving in different ways that we can't imagine. Slowly, but still. Can you imagine how like minimal it would feel to travel across a country if like traveling through planets is a regular
Yeah,
thing?
that's true. I guess a way to kind of imagine that is when you were a kid, at least when I was a kid, my hometown was most of what I knew,
Yeah.
and then every once in a while we would take a vacation to somewhere else, usually also in Michigan.
Right. Getting from one side to the other of that town felt drastic when you were young.
I didn't even know like the whole layout of the town, but now like I've been to multiple states. And just taking a drive across Michigan to go back home is like, okay, yeah, whatever. Just drive 2.5 hours and
Yeah.
I'm over back in my hometown.
It's not an incredibly big deal.
No, but like, kid me didn't even know what the hell another state was.
Yeah. The town over, you would be lost forever.
The current town would be lost forever. I didn't know my way back home, which is funny because I would like look out the window of the bus going to school or like driving around with my parents or whatever.
Yeah.
A lot, but I never
not.
learned the layout.
Me neither. It's only now after I don't even live there that I like fully understand it.
Getting to be able to like drive myself was what made me learn the layout of the town.
Yeah.
But then also I use GPS for a lot of things.
Same here. Like without GPS, in the same sense that the internet, it's like I would be completely lost. I would be mostly guessing, and I would at least lose a half an hour of time, you know, figuring out where I was supposed to get off later.
I still use GPS to like just get back home, which I shouldn't need to because it's not. There's not a lot of turns I have to make. There's not a lot of exits.
You probably can without it, but I also leave mine on, like when I'm, you know, going to see my family or whatever, because I like keeping track of the time. Like, I actually just leave it on for reports, basically. Because I know you could probably use, like, Waze or whatever, but I just use Apple Maps to be like, oh, speed check ahead, 96 is down, whatever.
Yeah, or like see how long you're gonna be stuck in traffic.
Yeah.
See if there's a crash ahead. I can't remember if I brought this up on maybe the first episode of the podcast or like in a video or whatever, or if I just talked to you about it, but I really still love that situation. This is like semi-related to cheating with my drawing class and the grade I got in it.
Oh, yeah, the final?
Yeah, I guess for context, I have a history of, especially in my drawing classes, waiting till the night before to finish the drawing for a project in class, and I will throw something together the night before and within a couple hours, and sometimes it's subpar and you can tell compared to everybody else when we do a critique. But a lot of times, if it's like a concept or drawing strategy or whatever that I know well, then I'll make something that's equal or better than a lot of the class, if it's something I'm interested in.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I will put things off to the last minute.
If you're not especially interested in the requirements.
Or if I'm also just a procrastinator, so sometimes I just leave things behind and then like last minute, okay, gotta do it now, otherwise it's not gonna get done.
I'm certainly familiar with that.
Yeah. I was doing that with the final project of my drawing class recently. It's a figure drawing class. So we would get new models in and we would just draw them, and it was a way to learn anatomy and draw the human figure. And every once in a while we would have take-home projects where you just like tell us, draw something with this amount of figures in it, maybe some architecture, landscape, like whatever requirements.
Yeah.
Usually pretty general. And like a time requirement of like how long you should spend on it. 10 hours, 20 hours, plus research or whatever.
Yeah.
We don't have exams in it because it's a drawing class, so the final exam was replaced by a project. The project was spend 40 to 50 hours researching and drawing a picture with 3 figures in it, each respectively represent music, dance, and theater. Oh, and there had to be some sort of idea of costume design with them. Like you had to draw the clothes uniquely.
Yeah.
I just straight up didn't do it. I put it off for too long, and then when it got to the point where it was the night before or the day before, I realized I can't fake 40 to 50 hours of work in one day. So I just decided I'm not going to do it and hope that my good grade for the rest of the class would carry over well enough.
Yeah.
We were in like the car and I was telling you about this. What was it you told me when I said I probably can't get it done?
I was like, you still have time.
I think it was the day of. Wasn't it the day that I had
You
to
still
turn it
had
in?
3 hours, right?
Yeah. It was like 2 and I had to turn it in 5, somewhere around there. And I was like, I know my limits and I can't do that. So I just didn't do it and I waited to see the grade that I would got in the class. Because he wasn't good about like posting grades. So I didn't like get to see my grade until the midterm was done and then to the final was done. And as I was waiting for the final grades to get put in, I was getting some emails back and forth from the class, just like emailing each other. And I was part of it because I was just emailing the whole class.
Yeah.
Of the students trying to figure out what was going on with turning in the drawings. Because he told us this is the date for the final, but just like you come and within this time period you turn in your drawing, just like bring it to the class, set it down, and then I will come and pick them up, and then the next day you can come pick them up again and I'll put the grade in. So just drop them off and then pick them up next day. And he just wasn't there the day that he had to pick them up, and he emailed like saying, "Oops, sorry, I wasn't there." Like, okay.
Whoopsie daisies.
And the class was emailing back and forth each other, like trying to figure out, do we still drop our things off? Do we pick them up and give them to another time? Or is it like the final just not counting anymore? And I don't know how it got resolved, or if it did, because like I wasn't even part of it, so I wasn't conversing with them
It's
since
still
I didn't turn mine in.
unbelievable that like you took those odds and you made it.
Yeah. Well,
like-
I did. So, like a week ago or something, I checked my grades because they were all in. I was like, oh, I haven't checked them yet. I should probably check those.
Yeah.
And I looked and I was like, okay, A for my painting class, B minus for my writing class, A for my poetry class, and an A for my drawing class. Okay, cool. Wait a second. A for my drawing. Wait.
Something right here.
Also, attendance counts for part of the grade in a lot of college classes, at least
Yeah.
here. And I had missed some classes. There's a cutoff point where your grade gets diminished by missing more attendances.
Yeah.
And I was past the point where I should have been losing grade from that as well. And also not turning in the final project seems like a big hindrance on my grade.
I know.
And I just got an A, so I don't know what happened.
Even with those circumstances, and like you're thinking like, oh well, shit, he probably didn't even look at like what I did. I just got an A. Like even if it wasn't just you having that mistake, people who really did work hard must be furious.
Yeah.
Like even if they did just get an A, didn't get any feedback, they're like, all right, this is what it's all about. And then like it's or God forbid they got no grade.
Yeah. Like the projects got mixed
Yeah.
up. He put the wrong names in. I got somebody else's A. They got my failure.
And like they can't do anything about it now because it's in administration's hands.
This was his last semester, so I wonder if he just didn't give a shit anymore.
Maybe. Yeah, if he was leaving or like they fired him anyway.
I won't say his name, but if by chance this ever gets to him, like I did actually like you as a teacher. You were a great teacher, a great professor. I learned a lot in your class about drawing. So thank you, and also thank you for the good grade.
The deer outside. I remember like last fall, there was one that got his head hooked in the fence.
Oh.
Because he was fucking around with it. He walked up, he was like rubbing up against it, and then his horns got locked into it. And I just had to watch him like reap his head off. He panicked. That happens to a lot of them.
Just put him out of the misery. Get the airsoft gun.
You're gonna go meet dear Jesus. Dear Jesus, you failed me again.
I do think the ending of that class was very funny in contrast to, like, I guess just one other of my classes. 2 of my classes were kind of neutral endings. They were just like, I turned in my final project for my painting class, and I turned in my final paper for my writing class. Then that with the thing with the drawing class happened, and that was weird.
Yeah.
But I guess, respectable and high note, and to my poetry and fiction writing class, we did a final critique of one of our revision projects. We took one of our stories and rewrote it, trying to make improvements based on feedback we got from the class.
Yeah.
We did a critique of that. And that one, it just went really well, and I got great feedback from people, so I made some good improvements to one of my stories. It was just a nice, like, reading at the end of, like, the last class period we had of all of our things. And then my professor for that class sent out emails to everybody giving her notes on what we did and just how we were doing the whole class. And she was, like, super sweet, gave glowing feedback and constructive where it needed to be, but all very respectful. It wasn't like shitting on us or anything.
Stupid. Especially you, stupid.
Jacob.
Jacob.
I don't know, I really like the name Jacob recently. She also just gave me some compliments about like being very kind and respectful to some of our class members. There was one class member who she just didn't have a personality to mesh with a lot of people, but I would always like take time to talk to her and hear out what she had to say.
People with saw blades and stuff, and just generally incompatible
with human nature.
With human nature.
Nah, she was cool.
When you looked into her eyes, she had the abyss staring back.
One professor being like fully attentive and the other one just fully checked out.
I wonder if it's like they get paid the same, or like, because like a lot of other buildings on campus are like all the teachers in the same kind of category or teach similar subjects generally know each other.
Mm-hmm.
But it makes me wonder, like, are the art teachers always coming and going, like, or is it like too big of a community? I don't know. It's interesting because it's like I've been to like where teachers have like cubicles of their offices, where they're grading papers and stuff, and it's like they're all there at the same time. It looks like they're in an office building for a regular company.
Yeah. From what I've seen with the art buildings, I guess, the professors are kind of in and out of their offices. Like, you can almost never even find them in there. Most of the time when I pass by, all the offices are empty because they're in a class or like they're out doing something else.
I find it insane that building is wood heat powered too.
And it feels great. Temperature's always good.
Yeah.
I really like the art building. I just generally like it.
Yeah.
I like being able to walk down the halls and see students' art that's just up on the walls in classes.
You used to go in there at night and paint, right?
Yeah, I still do sometimes. Not recently, but if I have like projects or if I just have something that I'm working on my own that I want to be in a more open space, in a place that's more like ready for painting than my tiny bedroom, where I set up my easel and I have this curtain in the way and I get paint on everything.
That curtain does get in the way.
Yeah. It's great for when I'm recording on my own, but if I'm doing anything else, or I have you also in here.
I literally got tangled up in it yesterday. Dude, you have to eat another donut. I'm gonna work through them all eventually.
I can take a minute.
I now understand the importance of plates. It's a good thing I put this on. Wouldn't want to get the important shirt dirty.
I'm waiting for one day you come back with a Valhalla shirt on and it's just like covered in stains. You stumble out of your own car. You drove?
I've got like cigarette ashes on me.
I and a lot of my parents' neighbors make jokes about my parents being alcoholics because they have so much alcohol in the house. My dad literally built a bar because they didn't have enough storage for the alcohol.
Yeah.
He has cases of like Zima and they buy new Peach Crown Royal every time they see it. He just recently put up more shelves above, like two sets of shelves above the bar because the bar was too full.
Oh my God.
And he moved like half of them up.
It's just them, right?
Yeah, it's just
like
two.
Most of the time. Does he consider himself like a connoisseur? Like, could he like make me a drink?
He can make a drink, yeah.
Wow.
But I don't think they drink like terribly often. They just have a lot. Like they just have a lot of variety. They're like alcohol dragons.
They have their stash.
Yeah.
Alcohol dragons.
You know what I mean, though,
That
right?
should be the name of the episode.
Even though we talked about it for like 8 minutes.
It's in the fantasy world. Alcohol dragon is the final form of a booze hound.
I saw a video recently that said there's bookworms that read a lot of books, and then there's book dragons who just like to have them.
Yeah, I can understand that. Like, I think my mom might be a book dragon. She does. She listens to a lot of like audiobooks, but she has way more books than she ever, I think, will actually read.
Which I don't consider myself a book dragon. Because I just don't have a lot of them.
Yeah.
But I definitely buy some and then just don't read them.
I think the term bookworm is kind of referring to like the fact that you go through a book, right?
Yeah. And then book dragons, you sit on them. You have them.
Put them in a pile. Sleep on them.
You could also read them, but not necessarily.
And you never let anyone touch them. Fire bursts out of your mouth if they do.
What I'm saying is I don't want to turn into a book dragon. No offense to anybody that does that. Like, that's fine. Just like, it's a form of collecting.
Yeah.
I feel bad not reading my books. If I buy it, I want to make use of it. A lot of times I buy a book because I actually do want to read it. And then it sits around because I don't feel motivated to. I feel good when I'm reading. I enjoy reading when I do read.
Usually, like, when
exercise.
When I'm not feeling motivated, I'll read a book. Like, it doesn't, I mean, I'll just sit there and like stare at the same page for a while, but like that's like my minimum.
Yeah.
Like, I have to really be in a low place to read a book. Not saying like that people who do read
are lowly.
Just that it happens to be my circumstances that like when I'm in a low place, reading is the only thing I can do to occupy my mind.
I only read when I'm in high place because I have a good opinion of book readers, unlike you.
It's not. No, 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 no. I pretext that by saying
Oh, we know your true
I
intentions.
don't discriminate.
We
against
know,
book
we know,
readers.
we know. You don't have to say anything.
Fucking page turners. We're gonna lick your finger. Can't you get grip?
I was just thinking to myself, I'm like way tuning in for this last lap of the race. Then I see you like in the grass in 12th place.
Ah, shit. My problem is when I focus on this, then I do terribly.
Yeah, the last couple of races, like we've been talking pretty consistently this whole episode. You were like for the most part keeping up with me, or like you were in the top half a couple times at least. What if I not only posted these as like the full thing, like I didn't cut anything out, but I actually took the parts where we were quiet and doubled each of them, like extended it as far as
Drag everything
possible.
out. People would be so confused. They'd just be hearing like idle Mario Kart noises.
I put silence in between our regular conversation to make it seem like we don't know what the hell we're talking about.
Actually, it would probably be like, because people are ideally going to be like doing other tasks while they're listening to these.
This doesn't deserve full priority of mine.
Well, yeah, why would you just stare at a circle spinning for 30 minutes or so?
I did that with Distractable before they had video.
You stared at it?
When they had YouTube videos, but they were just like it would just be the three like little characters sitting at the table. Every once in a while they like blink. I would just look at that.
I've seen that, but like that's so you know it's still on. It's like a reminder that like, you know, nothing's gone wrong with it yet.
Just how I am, man.
Can't judge my ways, man.
Can't jack my steez. I'm surprised that shoe store that we got our shoes at didn't have anything other than what was on the floor.
Yeah, I think it was like just kind of a little bit of a burnout place because they didn't even seem to notice that it was us again.
when you came back because you decided you want to get them.
Yeah.
What was a different woman that checked you out than who was talking to us before?
She was like very quiet. If I didn't have such a quiet voice like in stores anyway, I would have been like, can you speak up please? Think about having a mustache. You accidentally eat part of it every time you eat something. Or at least catches what you have been eating.
That's another, I guess, like a subconscious justification, or like a subtle justification for why I don't want to grow a beard or mustache right now, is because if I want to save food, I'll just put it in the fridge.
Here's the thing though, it's like if I shave it, it's just gonna come back.
That's true.
The only way to permanently get rid of it is like lasering my face.
You actually like having a beard though, right?
Well, like I like
most days.
It's like having like long hair. I like treating it, and I like cleaning it, and I like the result of like after I've just styled it. And I like the applications that go with having a beard where, you know, you can put balm in it, you can put a hot towel on it, and it feels really good. But I do not like having, like, a beard that is not groomed. It makes me feel like a dirty pirate.
Feel like.
Yeah. Yeah, it also makes me feel.
Dirty pirate is a great insult. It's like a playful enough one that you could say we're on friends. Like,
You dirty
pirate.
But also, like, when have you ever met a pirate that's not dirty?
I don't know if I've ever met a pirate.
Well, you've never met one that's
Other than
not
you, dirty pirate.
You've never met one that's not dirty.
I guess that's true.
The only good pirate is a dirty pirate.
Can't have a pirate not have dirt.
I agree. I wish it would get longer so I could actually start doing something with the beard. Otherwise, I just have, like, this thing that's kind of there, but doesn't offer anything.
Can you tell if it's still growing?
Yeah, it's like
So
any
it's
other.
still
It's,
get there.
it's like any other hair. It's just gonna keep getting longer. The only thing that makes hair stop growing is like root health and like if it has dead ends or not. It just generally becomes unhealthy because it's a bunch of basically like proteins and not chitin, but whatever the stuff that's your fingernails, right?
Keratin?
Keratin. Yeah, it's just a bunch of keratin that's strung together, you know, and like glued together by collagen, like a bridge that's too heavy for it. So May 11th.
He just hit two spouts of lava.
Kept, like, interrupting me.
So what was that about hair?
Yeah, I mean, it's like anything, like a bridge that's too heavy. Like you have to like kind of clean it up a little.
This stage isn't very drift heavy.
They know. They know.
I don't think they do know.
They probably don't.
We know.
Do we? Have we ever tested that? Next time on Mythbusters, Jamie and the guys find out if this stage actually is very drift heavy.
I drift a lot on this stage. I drift on every stage.
Every stage is
Driftable.
driftable.
This stage does feel pretty... It's like moderately drifty. These first couple turns I definitely drift a lot on.
In this case, it is pretty drift heavy.
Maybe generally it's not as drift heavy, but like in the parts that we do drift, then they're drifty. Like it's drift heavy at points.
Yeah.
Do you think we should ever play Mario Kart on the Switch for this podcast, or would that not be the same?
We could say nothing. We'd just do it. I don't know why it wouldn't be the same.
That's like a lot faster pace and a lot more stuff going on, so we have to pay more attention to it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that would put us in a easier state of talking, or if it would be harder because we won't be more focused on the game.
I don't know. Maybe my performance will be the same or better, like doing something that requires more focus.
Third place.
Still not 100.
See if I can double you by the. Oh, never mind.
That's it.
Yeah. See me on the podium again. Look at all our friends came.
Mostly Delfino.
What are they called? Pinatas?
I don't know.
Panitas?
Panitas.
Pita breads? Some with the P.
Quesadillas.
Quangos?
Quangos. Doritos.
Tombus? Damn, Funky Kong's got some tits on him.
What?
Look at him. Funky Kong.
Funky Kong.
11. Look at his chest.
He does,
He's popping.
In the meantime.
Oh. This is a song I could play in the car with my parents around, and if you don't listen to lyrics, it just sounds like a regular song.
They weren't paying attention to it until they're like, what?
Crispy bodies.
Crispy bodies by the door.
The chicken duck woman thing line, right?
They'd be like,
Wait, what's your impression of my dad?
Oh, hey, Luke, did I hear that song, right? Chicken duck woman thing, what?
I wonder when the movie came out, like, the reaction of people when they found out she was his sister.
They weren't. I don't know why they made them brother and sister. That's so fucking weird.
Like, seems unnecessary.
Yeah, people were probably like shipping them.
Yeah.
By that point, why would they change it?
Did they find out in the same movie, or was it another movie?
They only established that they're brother and sister by Return of the Jedi, like the third movie.
Wow.
But there's
so they spent 2.5 movies.
There's 2.5 movies of them kissing. I think even by the third one, before they're like, oh shit, yeah, I get, because I think they wanted to up the ante that when you find out like Darth Vader is his father, they're like, oh yeah, and that's not even half. You thought that blew you away? You should see Han Solo's face when after I think they're on Endor, and then he's like, "You love him, don't you?" And she's like, "Yeah, but he's my brother." And she's like, "Somehow I've always known." And he's just like, he's just sitting there shocked, like as anyone would be. Why did they do that? Why? It was like this whole kind of cool, like, oh, who she's gonna end up with thing.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden,
it was like a dynamic with like a
he
little
was
triangle.
like macking on him all the time. He's clearly fucking attracted to her the first time he sees her in the hologram, and then later he's like, oh, like when she's like waiting in the prison cell.
Yeah.
She's like a badass, and she's also like been out and about, and he's like a farm boy that's never been anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So like all of this is mind blowing to him, and she's just like bored. But then consequently, like Han Solo is more her speed, you know.
Yeah.
But like he's not as interested. He's in it for the money. Until they're like, oh yeah, and they're brother and sister.
There were some movies that I wish I could see for the first time again. I wish I could see the original trilogy of those movies for the first time again. One, so I could get that.
I would have been like, what?
And two, just because I think those movies are fun.
Yeah. I wish I could forget. There's a lot of movies I wish I could forget.
Just forget it, so you can see them again.
Forget, yeah, just so that I could see them again. Because I still remember the feeling of the first time I saw all of them. I just generally like movies.
I would like to watch the prequels without having any like preconceived notions of it again.
Yeah. Has it been long enough for you?
It might have been, actually. There's like all the jokes about the prequels now, right?
Yeah.
Like about the bad movies. They don't really matter that much to the story.
Yeah.
The acting's bad or whatever. But I don't really remember because I watched them when I was a kid. And I liked them when I was a kid.
I like them anyway, yeah. It's like, what difference is it? I don't know why people like hate on them so much. I think because it's not their childhood anymore, and they're just butthurt about that. Because it's a new generation of people who like Star Wars, you know. It's like, and they realize by that time, oh shit, it's kids movies.
Space fencers.
Yeah. There's nothing remotely like adult about space wizards fighting
with laser swords.
It's not even like there's Star Trek, which is more scientifically compelling. You know, they have like phasers, you know. But it's mostly magic. It's space magic.
Having said that, though, like no disrespect to anybody that really loves Star Wars, they're great movies. At least the ones I've enjoyed a lot of them. Even the ones I don't really remember that much. Like the new ones, I just can't follow anymore. I've seen a lot of the new ones, and I just like I forget what they're about, or they get mixed up in my head.
I
combine them.
I watched the last 3 just for the sake of it, and like I was getting to the age where I was like, well, I'm just not really buying it anymore. Like the magic is fleeting.
I think it's gone on too long.
Yeah.
For me.
I think they should have kind of like rebooted it from scratch instead of trying to pick up this already 30-year-old
like try to make a whole new story out of it instead of going off what they had.
Yeah, because like you can keep the same concept and make it about different people.
Yeah.
The galaxy, like the whole kind of universe there, gets a lot smaller every time you keep adding all these same characters mixed into the same story. Like it's not as fun when the entire thing is a soap opera about the Skywalkers. It should be more about like how cool and different it is from our own reality.
Yeah.
But they don't do that. They want to sell toys.
It's hard to sell toys of new characters instead of the old characters
Yeah,
everybody
because
knows.
it's like you still have to make them, I guess, different somehow than the original characters. I thought you were gonna scream "bye" into the.
See ya.
Ben definitely went into the
Well,
red.
you saw how mine went to the yellow. I give it a good volume.
Even me whispering, it's probably more pulsy.
See you later. We'll see you in the next episode.
I wonder if that made it through. We'll find out when I edit it.